Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, John June. And of course, on this lovely Saturday morning, got to have my guy, Greg Penniman. Greg, what's good, man?
What is good, man? Week 11, we're here. I'm just sneaking into some college football today. So, relax a little bit. Check out the next prospects for maybe some dynasty. Got some big games, actually, Ohio State, Michigan State. So, I'll be doing that too.
Yeah, we get into a little dynasty out here.
Yep.
Mostly in the off season, but we, like to sneak peek here and there a little bit.
Yep.
But as you said, week 11, we are here. We've already broken down the 1 p.m. games. Obviously, you know what it is. We broke those down yesterday, or Thursday rather, but that's episode 222, week 11, game previews part 1. So you can go back and listen to that if you're looking for any of those 1 p.m. breakdowns. Obviously, here we're going to break down those 4 p.m. or those afternoon games, those primetime games. But before any of that, we got to break down the Thursday night football game that was played. The New England Patriots against the Atlanta Falcons. New England Patriots won this game handedly, 25-0. Pretty much shut out Atlanta. Greg, what were your Thursday night takeaways here in this one?
Yeah, I remember you saying New England defense special team probably the MVP in this game. So, yeah, they were definitely the MVP in this game. I did like that. Not like it, but I mean, the running backs usage pretty much was the most interesting takeaway. It's true 50-50 split. So now this backfield from Damien Harris being a high-end RB2 with some RB1 upside in games, he's more like this is a Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon type situation now, where they're just going to be, RB higher RB2s. I mean, RB2s with some, RB3 floors. So, yeah, whoever gets the touchdown is going to eat the most. But if they're going to continue to do this down the line, they're just going to eat each other's values up, Stevenson and Damien Harris.
Yeah, those are actually my two takeaways as well. I mean, the New England defense pretty much shutting down Atlanta. Atlanta couldn't do anything. We pretty much said Matt Ryan wasn't going to be any good. Kyle Pitts wasn't going to be any good.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Wayne Gallman might have had a chance to score a touchdown, but he was barely even on the field. Mike Davis was ineffective, as he's been basically all year.
It was horrible.
Quadre Allison was the getting the most work out there for the Falcons, and he didn't do much there. The Patriots had 4 interceptions. By 3 different quarterbacks, which is pretty interesting. Matt Ryan had 2 interceptions. Then Josh Rosen comes in, throws a pick 6, and then Felipe Franks, the third-string quarterback, comes in and throws an interception. So the Patriots defense, again, they pretty much were the MVP there. But the backfield, like you mentioned, we saw an even split there. I mean, like I said, Ramondre Stevenson, he just looks too good, too physical. He's a different type of back.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a little bit more juice than Damien Harris, so you can't keep that guy off the field. So, I thought that he would force the split. My bold prediction, although it wasn't that bold, did come true.
Yep, it did. It did outperform and out-touched, actually, yeah. I think both came through in a very, underwhelming way, but it happened.
But that's unfortunate. Like you said, they're going to eat each other's value up. They're going to cannibalize one another that way. And so I think that ultimately what it comes down to, unfortunately, is that unless there's some kind of injury in this backfield, and we never wish that, I don't see either of these backs really becoming the RB1 week or really being the RB1 that we think this backfield could yield, because it's really going to come down to how do those touchdowns fall. If you add a touchdown on one of those guys' stat lines from a PPR perspective, it looks really good. It's not really good, but it's a solid day.
Yep. I think the total running back had 22 carries, about 120 some yards. So yeah, one with all that work. The Patriots like to run the ball, so yeah, they're just gonna eat each other up.
Yeah, man. All right, let's break down these. Well, do you have anything else on this game?
No, not really. I
No,
mean,
it was right.
Patriots are good. That's always
Yeah.
takeaway.
Unfortunate for me, I just have to watch it all over again. But anyways, neither here nor there. Got to break down these 4 p.m. games, or these afternoon games, primetime games. Starting with the 4 p.m. game, 4:05 p.m. We've got the 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Las Vegas to take on the 5-4 Las Vegas Raiders. This game has a 50-point total. The Bengals are 1-point favorites here, basically a pick 'em. In terms of the injuries, Cincinnati's okay. Alec for Las Vegas, Alec Ingold, the fullback, he's on IR with the torn ACL. Richie Incognito, the offensive lineman, he's currently on IR with a calf injury. Seems he had a setback, so not going to be back to be able to play this week. Jalen Richard, the running back, he returned to practice with dealing with a rib injury. Greg, where are you with this matchup here?
I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to cover and the Bengals to win. Yeah. On the Bengals side, Joe Burrow, I think he's in a very sneaky great spot here, actually. This matchup is suitable for him. Joe Mixon, I like him as an RB1. Jamar Chase, I think he gets that lone wide receiver 1 value back along with Higgins. I think this could be the blow up game for Higgins here, just because I think Joe Burrow is going to do really well, so Higgins is going to be a big part of that. CJ Uzomah, deeper league tight end option, and Boyd, I think is a clear kind of 1, 2, and then 3 is a little below that. So I'm not. If you can find better matchups for to play over Boyd, I would do it. On the Vegas side, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow, those 3 guys I think have made a center this offense. I think they're Josh Jacobs low end RB1, RB2, high end RB2. Darren Waller, of course, top 5 option. Hunter Renfrow, top 30 play every week. Deshaun Jackson probably has some intrigue. If you're looking for a deeper league receiver that can possibly, make something happen on the outside, because they desperately need it. Because Brian Evans is not the answer.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that, because we'll talk about Brian Edwards in a little bit. But I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take Las Vegas to cover. I'm going to take Las Vegas to win this game. From the Cincinnati side, really like Joe Burrow this week. I mean, he's like start of the week worthy this week against a Vegas defense that, has given up some big games to quarterbacks. So he's a top 5 option for me this week at the position. Love Joe Mixon this week as well against a Las Vegas defense that's 24th in early down defensive rush EPA the last 3 weeks. Jamar Chase, top option in the passing game. But I still like T. Higgins as well. Like, I totally agree with you, right? Like, he's still getting the targets on par with Jamar Chase. He's just not getting the big plays or the touchdowns. It just kind of sticks out to me the game he had against the Jets. It was low volume catches, but he had 95 receiving yards, no touchdown. Like, that game is coming, and it very well could come this week. CJ Uzomah, he's my tight end stream of the week. So, again, love this matchup. But the Raiders, I think, have really good matchups across the board as well. Okay. I mean, Derek Carr, top 10 option for me at the quarterback position. I like both Raiders running backs in this one. I mean, the Bengals, the last 3 weeks are dead last in defensive rush EPA on early downs. Cincinnati's also second to last in PPR points per game allowed to running backs over the last 3 weeks. So I think both Vegas running backs could have a big day in Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. I mean, Josh Jacobs saw 5 targets last week. Kenyon Drake saw 4. So they're both seeing volume as ball carriers. They're both seeing work in the pass game. So I definitely think that, they can both have an impact there, especially with the trouble that the Raiders are having at receiver. Darren Waller, I mean, he's got to bounce back. I saw something about the Ruggs' absence, affecting Waller and how defenses play him. I'm not buying it. He has to produce. So, I think that's coming. Hunter Renfrow continues to ball here. He's a wide receiver 2 this week. I think Brian Edwards has intrigue. He's been on the field for basically 90+% of the snaps since Ruggs has departed from the team. His recent usage as well, had 88 yards and a touchdown last week. Had 4 targets the week before. Didn't convert, but they were trying to throw the ball down the field. He's seeing a 16 yard A dot, having 18 yards per catch. So he's basically taking that rollover.
Right.
So I think that has, in a game with a high total, back and forth nature to it, I think he has some intrigue for sure. Moving on to this next matchup, we've got it's the 425 game. We've got the 8-2 Arizona Cardinals traveling to Seattle to take on the 3-6 Seattle Seahawks. This game has a 48-point total. Arizona Cardinals are 2.5-point favorites. In terms of the injuries here, Kyler Murray on the Arizona side, he's dealing with that ankle injury that's kept him out the last 2 games. He's a game-time decision in this one. DeAndre Hopkins, who's been dealing with a hamstring injury, has already been ruled out. On the Seattle side, cornerback DJ Reed, he's dealing with a groin. Jamal Adams also dealing with the groin. I might have a typo here. Both of these guys might not be dealing with groins, but they're both dealing with injury. Both were limited participants in practice. Damian Lewis and Gerald Everett were DNPs. Alex Collins was a DNP on Thursday, but he returned to practice on Friday, so it seems like he's good to go. It's also been announced that Chris Carson will not return on the year. In terms of this matchup here, I'm going to take Seattle to cover. I'm going to take Seattle to win the game here. On the Arizona side, James Conner, RB1, again, based on that volume that he's been getting. He's got 11 touchdowns on the year. That leaves the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Gets a really nice matchup here against Seattle, ranks 5th in PPR points allowed to running backs over the last 3 weeks. We hopefully get Kyler Murray back this week. I think we will. I will start him as a low-end QB1. I know the matchup is tough for Christian Kirk, but I like him a lot this week, especially without D-Hop. Zach Ertz should also see a bump, as should A.J. Green. On the Seattle side, I think Russell Wilson will probably be asked to throw the ball a little bit more with the injuries that they're dealing with in the backfield. I know Alex Collins is back healthy, but I think that they're probably going to have to throw the ball more, especially in this matchup here. So fire up DK Metcalf, fire up Tyler Lockett. If Gerald Everett goes, I think you could light him up as well. Arizona started out hot on defense, but the last 3 weeks, they're 21st and 23rd in early down, drop back, and rush EPA, respectively. I think there's an opportunity, especially from a DFS perspective, to leverage this passing game here.
Yeah, definitely like that. Got to follow these later as we get more later in the season. You got to follow these trends more late. Last 3 weeks, last 4 weeks kind of just seems change over the year. I'm going to take the under, take Arizona to cover. I'm going to take Arizona to win. Kyler Murray, if he's on pace to play this week, which I think he is, still going to be a game-time decision. But if he's ready to play, he's QB1. James Conner, you got to play him up again. His first week as an RB1, he delivered as a PPR RB18, even in a bad matchup where they got blown out. He didn't bust for you, so that's a really good sign. Should see way more than 10 carries in this game. So Arizona's in a better spot. D-Hop probably won't go. So Christian Kirk, I agree, is definitely a wide receiver 2 in his absence. 2 straight weeks got the season high in routes, receptions. AJ Green is also a play as well, has some flex value, and Zach Ertz has low and tight end 1 value. On Seattle side, hopefully this entire offense can definitely bounce back. I have Russell Wilson as a high-end QB2, DK Metcalf, high-end wide receiver 2, of course, with this wide receiver 1 upside, depending if Wilson is back. Lockett also has appeal, of course, tied to Wilson as well. Alex Collins, he's got that low-end, he's got that RB3 floor, so I think that's where I'm going to put him probably for the next couple of weeks until this offense as a whole gets better, because his potential could be a low-end RB2.
Yeah, I mean, he's tied to Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps, right? Opportunity to score touchdowns. The only problem is he doesn't.
Because he's getting the opportunity for sure. He's getting majority of this running back opportunity.
I mean, Rashad Penny didn't even see the field last
Yeah.
week. So DJ Dallas is a Jag. So
Yep.
I mean, I don't think there's much competition. I think they would probably take Marshawn Lynch at this point if they could. All right, let's move on to this next game here. An intriguing game. Don't know why it's prime time, but we've got
Let's just flex it, man.
Just flex it, man. Like Tom Brady and Daniel Jones. Like, why do we want to see that? Ben Roethlisberger should not be in prime time anymore.
No.
Shouldn't just. No. But anyways, we got what we got. This should be the game of the week though, so should be able to see it. 4:25 p.m. The 7-2 Dallas Cowboys travel to Kansas City to take on the 6-4 Kansas City Chiefs. This game has a 56-point total according to FanDuel Sportsbook. The Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites. In terms of injuries, breaking news as of yesterday, Amari Cooper, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, is out at least these next 2 games as he was placed on the COVID IR after testing positive for COVID-19. That was the only really injury. That's the only injury there for Dallas. Of note, on the Kansas City side, offensive lineman Lucas Niang is out. Marcus Kemp, wide receiver, is on COVID IR. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire is unlikely to be activated. There's a possibility that he could, but Andy Reid, the way he was speaking earlier in the week, kind of implied that Clyde, they're going to wait till after the bye week to activate Clyde. Greg, where are you in terms of this matchup here?
I'm gonna take the under. The over/unders 2. I like that. It's gonna be high scoring, but I'm just gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the Chiefs to cover. I'm gonna take the Chiefs to win. Just being home, I think will give them that slight advantage. Having fans back has been an advantage for some teams this year for sure. On Dallas side though, it's gonna be a shootout. Dak, I love as QB1, high in QB1. Zeke, start of the week potential in this game. CeeDee Lamb has that bump, wide receiver 1, especially without Mark Cooper being out. Gallup slides into that wide receiver 2 category for me in this game without Mark Cooper, and Dalton Schultz is back in play as the third pass catching option. He seems to thrive in that option as the 4th pass catching option. He's probably not really in play on that tight end 2 category, but he's back into that low end tight end 1 category as well. On Kansas City side, Patty, he's back. The man, played very well last week. They have their juice back. I'm not hoping, Clyde is healthy, but that, just be patient with him and just let us stretch it out after the bye. Darrell Williams has been eating, as a starter in this offense. If Clyde plays, though, it's just going to be another Melvin Gordon, I think, Javonte Williams situation. I think there's no way. Darrell Williams has played very well to not get isolated from this offense. I mean, get just banned from this offense with Clyde back. So I think they're both involved if he plays. But Darrell Williams without Clyde is a high in RB2. And Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, you already know what to do with them.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take Dallas to cover. I'm going to take Dallas to win. I just, I feel like Dallas is Kansas City's playing better as a defense.
Yeah, they have.
I think Dallas is they're too versatile on offense. They can run it down your throat. They can spread it out in the pass game. And I think that style of football is just probably going to be a little different for Kansas City here. But we'll see. I could be wrong. On the Dallas side, I think Dak is a top 5 quarterback again. CeeDee Lamb gets a slight bump with Cooper out. But with all this talk now, if CeeDee gets to play in the slot, we probably won't see it since Cooper is out now.
He's possibly next 2 weeks.
Out the next 2 weeks, and so
possibly, yeah.
Michael Gallup steps in. He also gets a bump, but Kansas City, tough matchup for wide receivers. But I still like both of them. I like CeeDee Lamb as obviously he's a wide receiver 1. I mean he's got that weekly upside to be the wide receiver 1, and then Michael Gallup, he's attached to Dak Prescott in this high scoring affair. So I think he's got high end wide receiver 2 upside. Zeke obviously with the total this high, there's no doubt that he could he could be in here
he has to eat, bro. He's going to eat.
Yeah, for at least a touchdown or two. So he's an RB1. Pollard, he's an RB3. On the Kansas City side, Patrick Mahomes had a bounce back week last week. Gets a Dallas defense that's been good against the pass. So I'm curious to see if it's the same as last week. Do we get the explosion game, or does Dallas hold him back a little bit? Travis Kelce, tight end 1. Darrell Williams, he's been balling, man, and I hope he continues to see those opportunities, whether or not Clyde is healthy, because Darrell Williams has been absolutely balling. So just need that to continue. Tyreek Hill, high-end wide receiver 1, has a tough matchup this week, but it's Tyreek, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, the real MVP of this game is if the real key to this game is if Tyron Smith could play. Because if Tyron Smith plays or doesn't play, I mean, that changes the whole offensive line situation. Kansas City has been good in the line recently.
I want to see, I'm really curious to see how Micah Parsons impacts this game, for the Dallas side. How do they utilize him? Do they match him up with Travis Kelce at points? Do they use him as a pass rusher? Do they use him to spy Patrick? I'm curious about that part. But yeah, this game has a lot of intrigue, man.
Yeah,
a lot of intrigue. Let's move on to this next game, man. We were complaining. Sunday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. We've got the 5-3-1 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Los Angeles to take on the 5-4 Los Angeles Chargers. This game has a 46.5 point total. The Chargers are 5.5 point favorites. In terms of injuries, the Chargers, they've been dealing with some COVID breakouts. So they'll be missing some key defensive linemen. Seems like Joey Bosa was a close contact, so I don't know how that impacts him in this one. So, have to watch that. They play Sunday night, so just monitor that situation. But on the Pittsburgh side, TJ Watt, he didn't practice on Wednesday with a hip injury. I think he's on track to play. He's listed as questionable. Joe Hayden, he's out. Minkah Fitzpatrick, he's also out. He's on the COVID IR list. Big Ben was activated off of the COVID IR list and is slated to start on Sunday. I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take Pittsburgh to cover, but I'm going to take the Chargers to win. On the Chargers side, Keenan Allen, he's a wide receiver 1 option. Austin Eckler, he's a low-end RB1. I don't think Justin Herbert is in must-start territory right now. I've got him right outside my top 12 quarterbacks this week. He's been underwhelming at times this year. So I think I heard this stat on JJ Zacharyason's podcast, the late round quarterback, that he's scored under 15 points more than he's scored over 15 points. So that's alarming. And I know that you weren't on here, Greg, but on the Monday recap, he was in the Jags list, and I said it then. I don't know if I didn't know if I was overreacting, but after really thinking on it again, I don't know if he's must start territory. I have a league where I have him and Jalen Hurts, and for every week I had been starting Justin Herbert, but every week Jalen Hurts is probably the safer pick.
Yeah.
And it's another one where I have him and Kirk Cousins, and every week I start I start Justin Herbert, but every week I'd be better off starting Kirk Cousins. So, that's really it for the Chargers side. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but for the Pittsburgh side, Najee Harris, bona fide RB1, Deontay Johnson, he's going to get the volume. Big Ben's back, so that's good. He's a high-end wide receiver too, though, because of the matchup. Pat Freiermuth, tight end 1 option. But other than that, that's really it for me on both sides.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to cover, but I'm going to take the Chargers to win the game. I think TJ Watt being out is obviously a huge loss. Anytime Steelers start losing those linebackers.
Is he out?
Yeah, he is out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I thought he was questionable. So he's out. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that does make a huge difference on Pittsburgh side. Not really interested in Ben as usual. Najee Harris, of course, Deontay Johnson. Both those guys, of course, are RB1, wide receiver 1 at their position. Chase Claypool is off the injury report, so I think he has some that low-end wide receiver 2 bundle there. I think he can get a play, especially if they focus out on Deontay Johnson. Pat Freiermuth is I think they have him on the field a little bit less with whatchamacallit? What's his name?
Ebron.
Ebron, Eric Ebron. That's why I'm trying to block him out of my mind because I want Pat Freiermuth to be in there. But Ebron's been on the field a little bit, so I think his upside is a little capped, but I think he can still fall into that tight end 1 category with the touchdown, of course. On the Chargers side, Herbert hasn't been horrible, but like I think he's still ranked in the top 12 over the season as a QB1. So I have him still in that category, low end QB1. I like Eckler. I like Keenan Allen. Of course, I love Keenan Allen. Love both of those guys. Keenan Allen is definitely, again, we talked about a couple weeks earlier than people to get Keenan Allen, buy low on Keenan Allen is definitely coming to fruition here. Mike Williams definitely fall into a clear number 2 in this offense. He's, I think, fallen almost into that wide receiver 3 category. I think, you
notice how I didn't mention Mike Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have a better matchup, I think I would go with that. I wouldn't be,
He's got to show it to me now.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's got to prove it to me again.
That's fair. Yeah, and I'm not touching any of the tight ends as they use all 3 of them.
All right, moving on to this next game. That game by the way, feels weird with Phillip Rivers not being the Chargers quarterback and Big Ben still being the stew.
It's a sign that Big Ben needs to go.
You gotta go. You
gotta go, man.
All right, moving on to the final matchup here. Sunday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. We've got the 3-6 New York Giants traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the 6-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game has a 49.5 point total. The Bucs are 11-point favorites. In terms of injuries for the Giants, Saquon was limited in practice with an ankle injury, the same ankle injury that he's been dealing with that's kept him out these last few weeks. So he is expected to return this week, coming off the bye. His backup, Devontae Booker, the guy that held it down for him for a little bit, he was limited with a hip injury coming out of the bye week. So that's also interesting. Sterling Shepard, he was a DNP with a quad, so it seems like he might not be on track to play. Logan Ryan, who tested positive, was also vaccinated. He was going to try to make it to play on Monday, but seems like he is most definitely out. Lorenzo Carter, he's dealing with an ankle and an illness. So he was a DNP on Friday for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Antonio Brown, he was questionable. He's listed as questionable, but he was a DNP on Friday. Chris Godwin, he was limited on Thursday with that foot issue that he's been dealing with. And then Richard Sherman, he was put on injury reserve with a calf injury. And then Vita Vea, he's out with a knee. So Bucs are hurting, as are the Giants. But Greg,
that's usual.
Where are you at? Where are you at with this matchup?
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the Giants to cover, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers to win the game. On the Giants side, Daniel Jones is always playable. He's always streamable. I think he gives you a solid floor with his rushing ability. So I got him around that high in QB2 area. Saquon, not sure what you're going to – if he's playing, of course, you're starting him. If not, just keep firing up Booker. Just keep firing up Devontae Booker. He's been balling as the plug-and-play, kind of giving you RB1 week. So I think he's in that borderline RB1 territory for me. Kadarius Toney, the receivers is just a mess right now. I mean, don't really know who to trust in the receiving category. Probably Evan Ingram as a pass catcher is probably the only one I can't trust to give you some type of floor. Or Kadarius Toney, you're just hoping that he's just used and played because he had so much talent and blew up early in the season. I'm not sure what happened. And Sterling Shepard, I'm not touching him. If he plays, I'll probably touch him. And as some, kind of that Jarvis Landry area. On the Tampa Bay side, Brady's a QB1 for me. Fournette and our running back 1. Godwin, if he's able to play, has a very good matchup here. So I think he would be in more wide receiver 1 upside higher than even Evans, who's also in that wide receiver 1 category. Oh, and Gronk is back, so yeah, have him play.
I'm going to take the under here. I'm with you. I'm taking the under, the Giants to cover, the Tampa Bay Bucks to win. Saquon, top 10 running back option for me in his return to the lineup. Oh, like you said, if he doesn't go, Devontae Booker still in that RB1, RB2 territory, as a volume based. But hopefully, if you are the Saquon manager and you did have Devontae Booker, that you're just holding on to Devontae Booker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that given Saquon's injury history, if you have Devontae Booker, you're probably going to hold on to Devontae Booker, even if you don't have Saquon. Saquon or Daniel Jones, nice streaming option on paper. You do make an interesting point with the legs. That does give him a higher floor than most quarterbacks. But this Tampa Bay pass defense has been much better in recent weeks. I kind of talked about it last week in their matchup against Taylor Heineke, but they're 9th in early down drop back EPA on defense over the last 3 weeks. So not sure I want to challenge them with Jones, especially I think it's a much better week for quarterbacks this week than it was last week. Also why I'm a bit lower on Kadarius Toney this week as well. I have him as a high-end wide receiver 3. Galladay's back in the mix too, so I think that's probably why we saw Evan Ingram and even Kyle Rudolph so involved, is because there wasn't much going on at receiver, but Galladay's back. Not expecting him to do much either, but interesting to watch him. On the Tampa Bay side, I really like Leonard Fournette here. He's got start of the week potential here as a top 10 running back play against a Giants defense that struggled against the run. Tom Brady struggled last week and now faces a Giants defense that's even tougher than the one that he faced last week. I know Logan Ryan's out, so that's probably going to be a big loss there for the Giants secondary. But if their D-line can get after Brady a little bit, I think that these teams played on Monday night last year too.
They did. It was very low scoring. Yeah.
Yeah, very low scoring game. The Giants gave Tampa Bay some trouble. So if Godwin and Brown are limited, again, the top target here is Mike Evans. Gronk being back, curious to see how much they work him as he literally suffered back spasms like 3 plays into his first turn. So
yeah,
don't know why we're watching this game on Monday Night Football again, but it is what it is. We will endure it.
Yeah.
Greg, it's start of the week time, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's get to it. I need to hear a quarterback start of the week, brother. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with, I think Kyler Murray's gonna go, and with that, I got Kyler Murray going against Seattle. Just gonna have an all-star play here in a win that I think Arizona wants to win to get back on track after a rough week last week. Prove to people that they're one of the top teams in football, not just their conference or the division. And it's a divisional game. I got Kyler Murray going against Seattle, just giving you a K1 performance.
Yeah, man, I like that. Kyler Murray, when he's healthy, he's one of the most dynamic players in all of football, regardless of position. So I definitely like that. My quarterback start of the week, maybe a guy that hopes to emulate Kyler Murray one day. I'm going with Justin Fields going against Baltimore. Gets to go against Baltimore, which allows the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks over their last 3 games, giving them 22 points per game to the position. Meanwhile, over the last 3 weeks, Justin Fields is 5th in quarterback fantasy points per game at almost 22 points per game, 21.7. But Fields has really come on in his last 2 starts. Now has to go toe-to-toe with Lamar Jackson in what should be a really fun game. I've got Fields ranked as my quarterback 11 this week. And if this game goes over, I think there's potential upside for more.
Yeah, definitely like that. Justin Fields, you want him to succeed.
Definitely, man. Your quarterback breakout, Greg. So
Yes, sir.
definitely would like that. Hopefully, you can give me this win in the League of Extraordinary People. But Greg, your running back start of the week, brother. What do you got?
I'm going with David Montgomery going against his Baltimore defense in a very great matchup against Baltimore defense, who's been not so good against the running back position. Also, just the usage of David Montgomery when he was healthy and ready to go. Week 9 had the 13 touches, but before that had 23, averaging 16.4 carries a game, getting around 2 targets a game. He's just been a usage monster in this offense. So I like him in this matchup versus Baltimore.
Look at us with the running back quarterback
Yes,
start of
sir.
the week stack.
Yes,
Man, I
sir.
like that one. My running back start of the week is going to be AJ Dillon versus
Ooh.
Minnesota. Gets to carry the load here for the Green Bay rushing attack on Sunday without Aaron Jones. Do you know who the backup running back is? I have no idea.
No, I don't.
Dillon saw 21 carries in his last game. He's seen 6 targets in his last 2 games. And with all those rushing touchdown opportunities to himself, I think A.J. Dillon could have a day here. And to make it even better, Minnesota is 12th in PPR points allowed to running backs over these last 3 weeks. I think A.J. Dillon, just based on volume alone, is going to be an RB1.
Definitely like that one for sure.
Greg, your wide receiver start of the week, man. What do we got?
I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson going against Green Bay. I know Green Bay as a whole has been good against wide receivers of late, but I think they're able to be attacked with the matchup with Kevin King. So I like Jefferson a lot at that spot. And yeah, I think it's going to be still a high scoring game. I took the over in that game. Green Bay, I like both quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins is going to get the ball to his best player other than Dalvin Cook. So yeah, he's going to get it done.
I like that. Look at again another stack here. We got
Yes, sir.
wide receiver, running back game stack going here. I love me some Justin Jefferson, so I definitely love that one. I'm gonna go with a college rival of Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, LSU. Obviously, rivals beat Alabama. I'm going with Jalen Waddle versus the New York Jets. Over his last 5 games, Jalen Waddle is on a 16-game pace. Catch this: 154 targets, 106 yards, or 106 catches, 1,043 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He's been a target hog in this offense, seeing a 25% target share and 9 targets per game over the last 3 weeks, which ranks 14th at the wide receiver position. He's getting the Jet secondary that's got torched by the Bills wide receivers last week, and I expect that to be the same this week with the explosive Waddle.
Love that. You gotta love that.
Greg, tight end start of the week, man. What do we got?
My man Dalton Schultz is back in play, going against Kansas City in the shootout. We all predicted. He's back to that third pass catching option, as I mentioned last week, down to 66% snap share. We don't like to see that, but before that, and the weeks before that, he had 95% in week 9, and then always been over 75%. So that's the usage we like to see, over 5 targets in every game since week 3, and then other than week 10, he didn't do that because he was bumped down to that 4th pass catching option. But he's back in play, and Dalton Schultz should be in a good spot here against Kansas City, who's been favorable over the season.
Yeah, definitely. No Blake Jarwin. He's out for the year, so that should be even more opportunities there for Dalton Schultz. My tight end start of the week, going with Dawson Knox, going up against Indianapolis. Indianapolis allows the 3rd most PPR points to the tight end position over these last few weeks. Knox just returned from injury. He was on the field 84% of the snaps in his first game back in action. Prior to his injury in week 6, he was 4th on his team in targets. Meanwhile, the Colts are 5th in targets allowed to the position, giving up almost 8 targets a game to opposing tight ends. Dawson Knox is in a smash spot here. He's attached to Josh Allen, and we say it every week for the last 4 weeks. Josh Allen has the ability to be the QB1, so I attach my tight end to the QB1 here potentially. So definitely like this one.
Yes, sir. Need that from both players, Josh Allen and Dawson Knox.
Absolutely. So now, Greg, it's time to play our favorite game, Get Money. And it's my favorite game this week because I won last week. So we'll see how this goes. But, Greg, damn it. Whose pick is it?
I think it's
It's week 11. I think it's your pick.
Okay, fair. I'm going to take.
I'm writing it right here.
There you
Week
go.
11.
There you go. I don't know, should I get all my players? So I'm gonna take Zeke as my first pick, 8,500, in the flex spot, for 425 start,
Okay. I'm gonna put CD Lamb in my wide receiver spot, 8K.
I like that. I'm gonna take Nick Chubb as my RB1, 9,000, slide him in there.
Okay. I'm going to take AJ Dillon, 7K as my running back.
As my other running back, I'm gonna take my running back start of the week, Dave Montgomery, 6,800. Really good price going against Chicago. Baltimore.
Nice. Oh man. Okay. For my second running back, I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey, 10K.
Spending the bread, I like it. I'm gonna go my first receiver. I'm gonna go Michael Gallup, 5,400 in that same game.
I'm gonna go Hollywood Brown, 7,300. I do have this opportunity though to flex this if he does not play. So
yeah, he was my wide receiver start of the week before the doubtfulness of him playing. So yeah, I do like that for sure.
7,300. So I'll slide him in here at wide receiver as my wide receiver too.
I'm going to take T. Higgins, 6,500 as my second wide receiver going against Vegas.
I like that. I'm going to go with Darrell Williams in my flex, 6,300 going up against Dallas.
My third wide receiver, I'm going to go DJ Moore, 6,700 going against Washington.
I like that one a lot. For my tight end here, I'm going to go Cole Kmet, 5,100 going up against Baltimore.
Word. At my tight end, I'm going to go my tight end start of the week, Dalton Schultz at 6,000. Got a lot of Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going to go for my defense, the Green Bay Packers, 4K.
I'm going to go my quarterback, Joe Burrow, 7,400. Get that stack with T. Higgins.
As my third wide receiver, I'm going to go Jamal Agnew, 5,300.
Oh, I like that for sure. And my defense, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals defense going against Vegas, 3,600, cheap, but I think we'll get it done.
And my quarterback, I'm actually going to go with my quarterback start of the week. The reason I could afford all these players right here, Justin Fields, 6,800 going up against Baltimore.
Nice. That's real cheap.
So, Greg, you went first. Why don't you read off your roster for the people here?
Got Joe Burrow at my quarterback at 7,400. David Montgomery, 6,800. Nick Chubb at 9,000. Going against Detroit, Michael Gallup as my wide receiver 1, 5,400. T. Higgins at the wide receiver 2 spot, 6,500. DJ Moore as my third wide receiver at 6,700. Dalton Schultz, tight end start of the week at 6,000. DQ Elliott, 8,500 in my flex, and Cincinnati Bengals at 3,600 going against the Vegas Raiders.
All right. Well, my lineup is Justin Fields, my quarterback, 6,800 against Baltimore. I got Christian McCaffrey, 10K against Washington as my first running back. My second running back is AJ Dillon, 7K. My running back start of the week going up against Minnesota. At wide receiver, 7,300. I've got. Actually, I'm just gonna change this now to Jalen Waddle. I don't know why I didn't just do that. You know what it is? I think I made this lineup before I decided who my wide receiver start of the week was going to be. So I'm just going to change that right now. Jalen Waddle, my wide receiver start of the week, 6,700. Jamal Agnew is my second wide receiver, 5,300, going up against San Fran. CD Lamb is my third wide receiver, 8K, going up against Kansas City. And then Cole Kmet, he is my tight end, 5,100, going up against Baltimore. And then Darrell Williams as my flex, 6,300, going up against Dallas. And then Green Bay Packers defense, my defensive stream of the week, 4,000 going up against Minnesota.
Nice.
Glad I was able to change that on the fly. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all kicking it with us on this lovely Saturday morning or whatever time you listen to this. Maybe it's Saturday night, maybe it's Sunday morning. Who knows? But regardless, we appreciate it all the same. Again, we appreciate all the support. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you check us out on social media at FF Diagnostics on Twitter and Instagram. At JR Football Nerd is where you can find me. And at we_made it is where you can find Greg on Instagram. At Gmoney_truth is where you can find him on Twitter. Until next time, y'all, have a good one. And we are out of here.